Wait, I'm confused. I mean, maybe you guys had a conversation that I wasn't a part of, but I didn't know the black community turned against us. But thank you. Now I understand that the black community is not our ally, and that they're all assuming, guys, that us as Mexicans, we all voted for Trump. They're assuming that we're all racist. And they're assuming that we all hate black people. They have stereotyped us and put us into a category. So now they hate us because it's all of our fault. See, the actions of all Mexicans is my fault. Just the same way, I guess maybe we could do the same. Black people also voted for Trump. So should we assume that all black people are not our ally then? Should we assume that all black people are Trump supporters? Should we assume that all black people are racist? No, right? And I wouldn't do that because I'm not racist.
Greetings everyone once again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's episode I'll be reviewing the current feud that is between the Mexican and the Latina community and the Black American community. And with the recent turnout of events, we are seeing that the Mexicans and the entire Latina community are calling out the Black community for not joining them in the nationwide ICE protests that are currently going on in the United States. Meanwhile, the blacks are also not holding back. Kindly watch the rest of this episode while I come with my commentaries at the end of it.
Started off your conversation literally generalizing all black people and then contradicted yourself and say, oh, well, what if we did that? That's literally what you did. I didn't know that we had beef with all black people and all black people aren't our allies. Hypocrite much? Then to turn around and say, well, all Mexicans are blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the hypocrisy for me. We are not in it. Why do y'all continuously try to keep pulling black people in it? Fight the good fight. Do what you need to do. Stand up for your community. And, I don't understand why y'all don't want to go back to y'all's country. I'm not even trying to be funny, but y'all always say that y'all have such rich culture and y'all so much better and where you're from is so beautiful and it's a paradise. So why not really try to go home and really fix up your community and in your country? Like y'all's government, y'all's officials look just like you, so wouldn't it be easier to get through to them? I'm so confused by that because a lot of and I'm not trying to be funny, and I hope that this isn't offensive to anybody, but a lot of immigrants are always saying how their country is so much better and how their culture is so much better. So I don't understand what's the issue. And just leave us out of it. It's okay. Some of us do support, some of us are rallying behind you, but as a collective, y'all don't do that for us. Y'all never have. So it is what it is. And more of y'all voted for him than we did. It is what it is. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
Hey there, friend. I'm so sorry to hear about this. I'm sorry that your experiences with African Americans in America have not been pleasant, because I don't know. And I think it may be just the circle of people that you're connecting to, because most of the people that are within my social circles, we love the people from Mexico. My husband was a builder in the United States, and a lot of his team members were from Mexico. And the quality of work that was done on the buildings that he created was spectacularly amazing. He so appreciated all the work and the fun and just everything, the whole experience of that time that he had of building properties there in Atlanta. I think more than 90% of his building team was from Mexico. And we've had nothing but a lot of admiration and love for the community there. So I think it may be just a matter of, running into some really bad apples. It happens. You're going to run into some bad apples that are African American. You're going to run into some bad apples that are whatever. I've had a few incidents here in Mexico as well. A couple of bad apples, a couple of bad experiences. But you know what? When I look at the grand scale of things, it's water under the bridge. So what I would just say is there are people that are in the United States. There are people here in Mexico. There are people all over the world that will truly appreciate you and love you just for showing up and being who you are. So again, I'm sorry that you're having this experience, but I can tell you that all African Americans are not like that. And many of us want to lock arms with our brothers and sisters from Mexico to raise the vibration, to raise awareness, to come together and stand against those prejudices and injustices that happen to our people. So keep your heart open, okay? I'll see you on the other side of greatness. Ciao.
I think it's funny how everybody's true colors are coming out, especially the black people.
So now it's funny how black people's true colors are showing. Let's unpack that. Been the blueprint for resilience, culture, and activism. Realize that majority of the rights that you have in America are because of people who look like me. I'll keep going. She brought up Black Lives Matter, which I love this topic. Yes, we were outside fighting for our lives, not just holding signs, treating activism like a trend. It's not a viral moment, sweetie, because we live that fight every day. As for the we were there narrative, standing beside us is the same as standing for us, especially if you're quick to talk down us the moment it's convenient. About fleeing to America during slavery. Mexico abolished slavery in 1829, which made it a refuge for enslaved black people escaping the U.S. We didn't flee. They sought freedom. Those two are not synonymous of each other. Flipping through a history book, a Google search would have told you that. Lastly, I'll say this. Solidarity comes with conditions or backhanded comments. Keep it. Black people don't need performative allies. Damn sure don't need people who want to sit here and not take accountability for their own actions and question their own people why they voted for that jackass. We did our part. So yeah, you know I'm gonna be at? Right here, chilling. I'm in the house. I'm in the house. Good luck.
White blacks ain't standing with Mexicans right now, they say. Well, according to California state politics, Serenos, MS-13, only rock with the Aryan Brotherhood. The dying breath is Norteños, and they the only ones rock with the Bay. So if they are Aryan and they only united in our yard like that, then it's in the yard like that. If y'all don't know, maybe y'all need to check y'all books, homie. They don't fuck with us. They don't like us. They fuck with them Aryans, and they fucking with Trump. That's why nobody's right there right now.
Commenting about the Ukrainians, and they were saying, yeah, but these people are literally, if they go back there, they could die and stuff. We could die as well. I told them that my father wasn't alive and we had to escape, and they were laughing about it. We were saying, yeah, well, we all have problems, but they were defending the white people. And what I'm trying to say is like we don't want you to defend us. You don't have to defend us. It's okay. You guys have your own problems. I'm just telling you about history, what happened, how Mexicans helped the black slaves, how a lot of Mexicans got killed as well, saving them, how we have always stand.
So now that Trump is doing like the mass deportation, this Mexican woman, and I've seen a few other Mexicans saying that black people needed to help them and stand in solidarity with them. This is not our fight. And she's talking about how the Mexicans helped the black slaves and how they were killed and on the front lines. First of all, we don't even have to go back in history. We already have a lot of issues in our community that we have to face daily and that we're marching for, going to Congress about, trying to get bills passed. We don't have any allies. So we don't even got to talk about slavery. What about now? I don't see the Mexican community rallying behind black people. I just don't see it, not by the droves. I'm not going to say on an individual level and on an individual basis, there are some of you that may, help. But this is not our fight. Don't. You see how they come and recruit us when they need help and when they need numbers? But when we need help and when we need numbers, we're just another nigga on the street. Like, come on, they a lot of these Latinas, they be racist too. Okay? I've been to Mexico and I've seen Mexicans that were dark as me. They don't get the representation in the media. We only see the lighter complected ones. Colorism is rampant over there too. We could go deep, but black people, stand down. I mean, if you want to help, that's up to you, but don't let these people guilt trip you. Not the guilt trip. What y'all think about this? Do we owe the Mexicans anything? Spread love is to Brooklyn Lane.
I never realized that there was such a strong divide between the black community and the Mexican people. Growing up, I always felt so connected to that community because we share similar history, similar struggles, especially here in the USA. So it's pretty mind-blowing to me when I realized that there's rivalry and hatred between these groups. Obviously, I know that the black community faces a deeper, more severe problem in our country. I'm not trying to compare. I don't think it's the same, but similar enough that I assumed we would have each other's backs. I can't believe that we choose to be divided. So what I really hope is that the black community and the Mexican people and people of color in general can make the decision to stand together, because it's not about comparing our experiences. It's about how can we stand together, support each other, create the kind of changes that we want to see for our own communities and for marginalized people all over the world.
Latinos in the United States have not earned the support of black people for us to be demanding, oh yeah, why aren't they coming out to protest with us? Why aren't they engaging in activism with us? Because we haven't earned it at all, in the slightest. Or did you guys forget that 46% of all eligible Latino voters voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election? Or how about the fact that racism, anti-blackness, colorism, all of these things are still very much pervasive in our communities? Bro, Latinos haven't even reconciled with the fact that they can't use the N-word unless they're also black themselves, because Afro-Latinos exist. Oh, and if we're talking about Miami, oof, you'll see the whitest MAGA Latinos be like, bro, but I grew up in the hood. I grew up around black people. In Overtown or in Liberty City, I could say it, bro. No one's going to stop me from saying it. It's my right. I'm not racist. I have a black friend. We haven't even gotten over that. And we want black people to go to protest with us, to engage in activism with us, putting their lives, their freedom, their bodies on the line? No. I completely understand any black person that wants to just disengage, disregard us. I get it, guys. I really, really do. And we, as Latinos, as a collective, should not be harboring resentment against black people, criticizing them, getting angry at them, questioning them. No. No. Because we've earned this. They are completely justified in feeling the way they feel and doing what they're doing. Now, I would like to give a message to the black folks watching this video. You are completely justified in your feelings and in doing what you're doing, and I respect it. But please remember that black folks are also being affected by this persecution of undocumented migrants. And I feel like that's not talked about enough either. Here, Miami, Florida is the best example. Haitians, Jamaicans, Bahamians, Afro-Cubans, Afro-Hondurans, Garifunas, black people from all over Latin America and all over the world, Africans, just so many black people that are also undocumented that are really being affected by the persecution of this administration. And of course, much like any other entity in space, black folks in immigration detention centers, in the immigration system, are treated worse than their white, Latino, Asian counterparts. So it's really important to acknowledge that and just let you guys know. But yeah, Latinos, we need to tighten up. If you guys want the support of the black community, then earn it. Demonstrate that we can solve these issues of racism in our own communities, and please stop saying the N-word. If you're not black, don't say the N-word. It's really simple, actually.
To the Latinos that voted for him, you will never, and I repeat, never be white. You will never be accepted as one of them, and you certainly are not exempt from the racism that is this racist-ass regime. When that lady put in her post, alligators' lives matter, and she mentioned a number, that number being 65 million. Do you know how many Latinos are in the United States? Approximately 65 million, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Approximately 60 plus million people. So guess what? They weren't just talking about the illegal immigrants, because data actually says that there are 10 to about 12 illegal, undocumented folks in the United States. They're talking about you. They're talking about people like us, because we are not exempt from the racism that is rooted in what these people believe in, and frankly, the foundation of this country that was built on the stealing of land from indigenous people by immigrants that came here from Europe. So when you think that you are better than an immigrant because your family came here the right way, remember that this land was actually stolen from day one. So when you think that you are better because you're second generation or third generation because you've been an American for a longer amount of time, I hope that you never have to experience a time where you have to flee a country for your own safety or that of your family. So when you think that you are somehow not going to be affected by any of this, when you think that you don't have to care, what happens if you are next? What happens if it's someone that you personally know? And I know already because we've seen it. We've seen the clips of people that supported him, diehard supporters that are now crying on the news because their family members are getting deported and they thought that they would never be impacted. You see, in this country, so many people lack empathy. They are unwilling or somehow unable to think beyond themselves, and then we run into these situations. Wake up. The proximity to whiteness isn't serving you and it's not serving the community. You have to recognize what is happening because ultimately they're not just going after criminals. And all of this is connected to so many things that impact our community and frankly are holding us back, like anti-blackness and colorism and internalized racism. And if you think that these are woke words, look them up and you will realize what exists, what has existed in our community for a very long time. And I say all of this because there are so many people that have fallen to the false prophets of the world, and I need us as a community to come together and wake up. So if you're wanting more of this type of content, follow for more because we need to have this conversation.
The amount of Black Americans that I have in my previous video showing love to all Mexicanos is beautiful. But what's embarrassing is the amount of Mexicanos talking down to Black Americans showing love to our culture and even talking down on other Mexicans for talking about how great last night's fight was. See, last night we had two types of fans. We had the Canelo fans and then we had the boxing fans. And some of the Canelo fans are sore losers. They could not comprehend or accept the fact that Canelo lost fair and square to a really good Black American boxer on Mexican Independence Day, like it even matters what holiday it was. To add on, that Black American boxer paid tribute to his Mexican fans and Mexicans overall because it was Independence Day weekend, because of the song that he walked out to, him carrying the guitar case, down to his jacket having mariachi embroidery. The banda that was playing are his childhood friends from the same small town that he's from. And in an interview post-fight, he states just that.
Use that song in particular to walk out to?
Well, it was part of my outfit. The outfit was inspired by the movie Desperado. As you see, I had the guitar and everything. And my great childhood friend, Rosendo Robles, he was the one that, carried the song out and performed the night. And, it was a wonderful night. Like I said, I got Mexicans and Latinos on my side as well. So, it was a beautiful night tonight.
He was paying tribute to all his Mexican fans on Mexican Independence weekend. Meanwhile, we have Mexicanos hating on that. Dude, we have people appreciating our culture, loving our culture, taking time to pay detail into something that is part of our culture, and you have something negative to say about that? Yeah, don't get me wrong, there's always going to be Black American people that are going to talk shit about us, but did you not see the amount of Black Americans actually showing us love? Down to the boxer himself? And sure, a lot of you thought that Crawford was doing the same shit that Mayweather used to do when he was going to fight Mexican opponents. But like I stated last night, there was Canelo fans and then there was boxing fans, because boxing fans knew who Crawford was. Crawford and Canelo have both been pound for pound kings for almost 10 years. These were the two top dogs in boxing going at it last night. I still remember 2018 when this fight was first talked about. However, they told Crawford that in order for him to fight Canelo, he had to go up in weight class, and Canelo was not going to go down if he wanted this fight to happen. Thus, why it took so long for this fight to actually take place, and Crawford did go up in weight class. This was Crawford's 4th time winning belts. And boxing fans knew that both boxers were going to go toe-to-toe. And this is Canelo's 3rd loss. His first being in 2013 against Mayweather, his second being in 2022 to Bivol, and his 3rd was last night to Crawford. No, Canelo's not going to retire, and no, Canelo's not passing on the torch to Crawford. Crawford was actually in the talks to potentially retiring. And again, it goes back to some of you are just Canelo fans, not boxing fans, because if you knew who Crawford was, you'd know that he was closer to retirement than he was to getting the torch. So how embarrassing is it to see fellow Mexicanos leave racial comments, not just in my video, but in other videos that have to do with the Crawford Canelo fight, down to them talking shit to Black Americans and even other Mexicanos, calling us N-writers and lovers, Black D lovers, like if our preference had anything to do with your feelings being hurt. Like, you literally are so caught up in your brain because your feelings are so hurt over a fight that was won fair and square that you gotta look for any way, shape, and form to try to degrade people. How embarrassing. It's like a toddler throwing a tantrum because he can't have a toy. Anyways, to the Black Americans showing us love, listen, Mexicanos do love you. The Mexicanos that don't love you are Mexicanos that don't love other Mexicanos. Mexican people love when other people show us love. So when you show and appreciate our culture, we will love you right back. And I guarantee you, if you go to Mexico and you show the locals love the way you've been showing love in our comment section, they will show you love back. Because we do have Black Mexicans. We have Black Mexicans in Mexico. Because we have so much history intertwined with one another. But that's for the next video. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
Well, if you've watched to this end, thank you once again, and let's get down to it. For beginners, you need to understand the origin of the current disagreement that we are seeing between the Mexicans and the Latina communities and the Black community. As you understand, these people share a common history of discrimination that is in the United States. However, for the Black community, we understand that is based on the historical facts that the experience with the American history is quite dark, and this goes back to the slave era period, where we both understand that the Black Americans were taken from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade and were forced to work without pay in the white farms that is picking cotton. And even after this, slavery was abolished after the civil war, that is in 1864, we get to see that the chattel slavery system still existed in the United States, and the Black Americans have always been at the forefront of trying to fight for their civil rights and for other people of color in the United States. So we all understand that it's actually the Black community who are the inventors of different forms of social protest that have actually worked against discriminating governments. A good example is the massive labor walkouts by various employees with the main aim of crippling the economy of the country to get their rights, which they demanded non-hesitantly. And we get to understand that using these tactics to protest actually worked, that is for the Black Americans to get where they are today in the United States. However, in the recent times, we're getting to see that there has been an incessant immigration issue that is by Trump's government, where you get to understand that his motive once he got elected back into power was to make America great again. And what he meant by doing this is that all the individuals that he believed don't belong in America were to be forcefully deported back to their own countries. And for Black Americans, we both understand that for them, they share a very long history going back to decades with the United States, and these massive deportations wouldn't actually directly target them, as you all understand that the 400 years that the Black Americans have spent in the United States has successfully cut their original roots and ties that they share with Africa. And so when it comes to deportation, there is no specific country that a Black American can be deported to. And this again makes them to be more identified as Black Americans and less identified as African Americans, which is actually a political term that was brought into prominence by J.C. Jackson as a way of advancing his political interests. So for the Black Americans, once Trump came with this idea of making America great again by deporting the illegal immigrants, they were quite silent about it, as they all knew that these wouldn't directly affect them. However, for the Mexican and the Latina community, this was bad news to them, as actually we all understand that the ICE agents recently are making massive arrests and deportations, that is for the Mexicans and the Latina community. And we're also getting to see other communities being targeted, like the Somali community. And in this case, again, I actually made a video about the Somalis complaining as to why the Black American community is not supporting them. And in today's episode, we are saying again, the Mexicans and the Latina community are calling out the Black community for not coming out to support them in these massive ICE protests that we are seeing in major cities in the USA, that is including LA, and most recently Minneapolis, where we're getting to see massive individuals who have alliance with the Democrats are coming out to protest against the illegal ICE arrests and deportations, where we're getting to see again that unfortunately individuals are also getting to lose their lives. And this is calling out for massive effort or support from other American individuals to come out and support them in these protests. However, something notable has actually stood out. The Black American community has mostly kept quiet about this. And with the Mexican and the Latino community, as you're seeing in this episode, they're coming out to call the Black Americans for not coming out to support them during these massive deportation and ICE arrests. And we both understand as to why they are having this feeling, as we all know that the Black Americans have experience in handling protests that is based on their dark history that they have shared in the United States. And when it comes to protests, they actually have the blueprint to it. But in this case, they have chosen to stay out. And the Mexican and the Latina community are calling them out, as they are also reminding them that they are people of color, and they are going back to history to claim that they actually came out to support the Black American community, that is during the Black Lives Matter movement, where we get to see individuals from different races and background in America came out in full support against the police brutality that was constantly aimed at Black individuals. And with the current ICE arrest, the Black American community has relatively kept quiet about it and have chosen to stay out of it. And the Mexicans and the Latino community are not having it well. There are actually massive videos, as you've watched in this episode, where you get to see these individuals calling out the Black American individuals for not coming to return that hand to them. And there are several reasons as to why most Black Americans are acting this way. And the first fact is that we all understand that once the Black Americans go out to the streets, their safety actually becomes a concern. This goes back to the history that the Black American community has shared with the American security forces and other federal agents, where they have been constantly targeted and arrested by these state structures. And by doing so, we are getting to learn that they are actually being used as the guinea pigs, where these tactics were being trained on them. And currently, actually, we are getting to see these same tactics that was used to subdue and arrest the Black individuals are actually being used right now by the ICE agents to subdue the Protestants. And another fact that again is making Black Americans stay out of these current ICE protests, apart from the fact that they'll become easy targets for these federal agents, is the fact that there has always been a friction between the Black community and the Mexican community. And this goes back to the anti-Blackness sentiment that has always been among the Mexicans and the Latina people with relation to the Black community. And going back to the racial hierarchy, we are getting instances where we see that the Latino and the Mexican community are always trying to side with the whiteness, as they believe that this will make them feel closer to power or will make them experience less discrimination and prejudice compared to the Black American individuals. And Black Americans who are very keen about all these happenings have chosen to step back, as they believe that this is one of the wars that doesn't involve them. Another reason could be the fact that these individuals have actually shared neighborhoods like in Los Angeles and in Chicago, and you're getting to see that there has been a constant fight for resources between these two communities. And the Black communities on the other side believe that the constant influx of immigrants that are coming into the United States will lead to the government diverting more of the resources that they would have rather use in developing the Black communities and the Black individuals, and divert it to use in supporting these illegal immigrants. And so we are getting to see that in a feat of trying to preserve themselves, the Black Americans have actually chosen to stay out, as in one way or the other, this arrest of illegal immigrants is benefiting them directly, and that is with relations to the housing programs and other feeding programs that is directly affecting or benefiting the Black community. As for the Mexicans, we are seeing that they are claiming that if the Black American community are staying out in this protest, a time will come that they'll also need to ask for help from other people of colors to come out to support them. But for the Black Americans, they are responding that they have always been prejudiced, they have always been discriminated. They live in communities that have always been over-policed, and this what the Mexicans and the entire Latino community is experiencing right now is something that the Black American community has actually lived through and has experienced it since time immemorial, and hence they are always prepared to face these kind of incidents. Well, Lastly, not all Black Americans are choosing to stay out from this protest, as you've seen a number of them going out in support of the Mexican and the Latino community to try and protest. But this is not sitting well with every other Black individual. We are seeing this in cities like South LA, where there have been a group of Black individuals or Black activists that have come out to show support to the Mexican and the Latino community during the ongoing ICE protests. But a majority of Blacks have still chosen to stay out of these protests for reasons well known to them. Well, this again marks the end of this episode. Thank you for watching to this point, and kindly don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the share button, and see you in the next one.